up, everybody? It's the 84 Show Live episode 219. Of course, Adam, the whirlwind potato melt to the left of me.
Ayo.
At his local Blockbuster, the only Blockbuster still around in Bent, Oregon. Is that what it's?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Bent. This is episode 219. No technical difficulties today like we had last week. We have a guest. He's in the waiting room. He'll be joining us in about 10 to 15 minutes or so. His name is Chad Wise, and he's an author of a project he's working on called the Ghost Runner book, I believe. The Ghost Runner project, which I get to ask him because they call that's the runner they put on second base these days, like an extra innings. They call that the Ghost Runner now. So I wonder if this book came out before or after. So we'll find out.
Too bad Casey couldn't be there, too. We could have had him and Casey on.
Two authors at the same time. The world.
You and I could just check out and drink and listen to them talk.
God, do we think they're talking? Listen. Getting Casey on the show is not a problem at all. I can't get comfortable right now. I'm like too high up, so my feet can't touch the little like thingy. I'm gonna go down a little bit and see. But like, that dropped me a little too high. Still working on all the bugs here in the studio. What are we gonna do, right? But hey, do you know?
Yeah.
Anything about the Mullins man? Who the Mullins man is?
A mascot?
No, it's an asshole who goes to all the Mullins games, and he sits like right behind home plate. He has an Instagram. He's been on the ESPN and all that stuff, and he goes to major sporting events, and he sits in seats in which you can be on TV dressed in a Mullins uniform, like full blown head to toe Mullins gear.
I'm sure that wouldn't be difficult at Marlins games because nobody goes.
Easy, yeah. Like he was I think he was at the Super Bowl where and he was on TV with the Mullins man. I guess I don't know. I stumbled across him by mistake. So I was watching this documentary on how bad Derek Jeter was as a defensive player. He was statistically probably one of the worst shot stops of all time, just because of the amount of errors and his inability to actually play the position correctly. And the fact that George Steinbrenner had like a boner for him, so would never ever take him out of that position. So it actually breaks it down pretty interesting because it goes through all his stats. And as you look at it, you're like, wow, Derek Jeter was a terrible fielder. And in theory, he was kind of just an average batter. I mean, he was like 300 batter. He didn't really... I feel like there was more of a lure about him. Like, I think he's like... I wouldn't want to say overrated because I don't want to piss off all you diehard Yankee fans out there. But I would have to say he was just... He was like an above-average player, but he had such an allure to him. Like he had such a charm. He was like everyone's sweetheart. Everyone loved him, I mean, he's like, you know what? He was kind of like a David Ortiz, a media darling, if you will.
He was a media. I mean, the thing is just though, you got to lifetime 310. That's
okay,
really
it's not bad.
Good.
That's good. His offense was good. His defense. I guess they looked at his they're breaking down like errors and stuff like that and missed throws and. I guess if you look at it, if you really dig deep into these statistics, like one year he won went on the All-Star team, and he was like the second to worst defensive shot stop in like the American League or something like that. So it's like he never really was outstanding, and I guess he was kind of a prick when it came. So everyone sees him as a nice guy. Apparently, he was kind of a dick, like with his general manager and like him and Steinbrenner. Steinbrenner was kind of pissed off at him, and when he first came up because he was partying all the time and stuff like this. And I guess he really did the Florida Marlins pretty bad when he took over the team and he was the general manager on there. He traded all their good players. He fired a scout that was in the hospital of cancer while he was in the hospital. This could have been done by a really angry Red Sox fan too. I have no idea who did this YouTube documentary, but like as any documentary, you take it like with a grain of salt, right? Because you don't know exactly what you're gonna get out of it.
Who's funding it is trying to push their net.
Well, I wouldn't say funding is usually. I think using that word very loosely on a YouTube video. I think it was more of some kid in their basement. But even still, may have an agenda. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Yankees out losing right now, 6-3 to the Houston Astros, which is nice. So that's good for us. So, so the Mullins man, apparently, the Mullins had gave him his own press conference. He has special privileges at Mullins Park. It's weird. I guess it's easy to be like. I guess when Derek Jeter didn't invite him to the Zoom meeting or something like that. He threatened to take his services to other teams, and he said there was at least 10 other Major League Ball clubs looking to get him to be their man?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
he's Derek Jeter.
Well, no, this is the Marlins man. I'm not talking about Derek Jeter.
The Marlins man.
No, yeah. The only reason I brought up Derek Jeter was because this documentary was about Derek Jeter, and then it took the last 15 minutes was all about the Marlins man.
Yeah. No, that sounds ridiculous.
But, would you ever do something like that?
No.
Would you ever go to like every home game? Like, I guess the season tickets were like $250 a ticket per game, like right behind home plate. And Derek Jeter went up on the price, and he refused to pay the extra $10 a ticket.
Well, the thing is, though, like if I was to do something like that, once I did that, I'd be so sick of it. It's like if I was to eat my favorite food every day. It's like I would still like it. Like if I ate pizza every single day for a year, after a year, I'd still love pizza, but I don't want to do it anymore.
What about ass?
No.
We've eaten ass every day for every day. Would you ever get sick of that?
That's great. That's gross. No way.
I don't know why that ever comes up in conversation.
I don't know.
Like, whenever you're just sitting there, like, with your girlfriend, and you're like, what I could go for? My asshole licked. I was just watching a documentary on Derek Jeter, and I got an urge to get my asshole licked. I don't know why.
Actually, a long time ago, a girl did do that to me, and without warning me, she was going to do that.
Whoa. She didn't give you a warning?
No, she just licked my asshole, like, went below my balls and did that. You know, I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh. That feels interesting.
Dangerous territory.
Yeah, it is. It was, whoa.
That's like kissing it. It's like using a toilet seat that you're not quite know if it's clean or not.
There was no ass to mouth involved.
No, I would imagine not to. You're a smarter man than that.
Even in the moment.
Right.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
That would never, ever end up being a good thing. Ever.
No.
It's a bad situation no matter which way you cut it.
No, it is having the playground next to the septic system. It's definitely
right. It's bad. It's God's evil invention. You know.
It really is.
He's a man of mystery and fun and whatnot. And I hope the guy we're bringing on isn't a Christian, man, because he's going to be very, very alarmed by the topic that we got. We went from Marlins man to Derek Jeter, back to Marlins man to having your asshole licked.
To eating ass. Yeah.
So.
And I'm gonna be even more. It's funny. Before I got on with you, I was watching this comedian. I forget his name, sadly, but I'll figure it out. It was really he had this bit about how stupid he thinks his kid is.
Okay.
And he's like, I love my daughter, but she's really stupid. Like, this is how stupid she is. Like, we're sitting down at the breakfast table, and she looks at me and she's like, hey, how about that dream we had last night? I'm like, wait, what? My daughter, 12 years old, thinks that you share the same dream. Right, like it's must-see primetime TV.
That's fucking freaky. That was that dream we had last night. What are you talking about?
How about that dream last night?
Crazy kid. I was watching. Speaking of comedians, it's actually a joke that kind of goes with that. There was this guy, and he goes, why can grown women get away with stuff that grown men would never ever be able to get away with? He goes, for example, I'm at the store with my kid, and he's like 10 years old. And the lady comes over and goes to him, a complete stranger, and says, aren't you the cutest little thing? You are so adorable, and grabs him and goes, you call me when you're 18 years old, and winks at him, and then walks away. And everyone thinks that's so adorable. And he goes, how about a guy goes to the store and does the same exact thing to a girl? And see how quick he gets them arrested.
Funny you should say that, because in another way, this kind of relates to what you just said in a weird fucked up. I was having a drink with a friend of mine a couple nights ago. And there's definitely a stigma that, okay, let's say you're a woman, right? And you say to your boyfriend, husband, whatever, let's have sex, right? If the woman says, I'm tired, the guy's just like, okay, whatever.
Right, yeah.
If the guy says, I'm tired, the woman automatically assumes something's wrong.
Right.
But because the society has programmed us to think that the guy's always supposed to want to fuck.
Oh, right.
So if the guy says, I don't want to, and it's nothing personal, he's just tired, then automatically something's wrong.
Sometimes you just want to catch up on your Z's, you know what I mean?
Sometimes you're just fucking tired. You just don't want to fucking do it. You just don't want to. It's like the weekend's coming.
Right.
Catch up then. Like
I've been down that. I've been down that road before.
We all have.
Right.
Like and then I started thinking back to my previous relationships, and I'm like, that has fucking happened to me.
I've had a girl get mad at me.
Yeah, me too.
Like angry.
What's wrong with me? Are you cheating on me? Why don't you want to? It's like I'm just fucking tired.
Yeah. I remember one particular time I was I'd got, this is when I was down in Connecticut, going down there. I had gotten up to work at 4:00 in the morning, drove to Swansea, Mass, worked in the back of the stockroom from like 6 in the morning till like 9 and 10 o'clock at night, right, nonstop. Then drove 2.5 hours to Connecticut. And I just wanted to catch up. I was going to be there the whole weekend. It wasn't like I was being there. I was going to be there the whole weekend. This is Friday. I was going to be there till Monday morning. And, I had quite the conversation about just wanting to get a little bit of shut-eye, if you will, you know?
Yep. Been there.
Well, that's the society we live in. And then we die.
It is.
Do you know the minute you're born, you start dying? I just thought of that, too. I was very depressed.
You just thought of that now? Like, yeah. You're the
38 years into it.
And then you come out of that womb.
Yeah, I'm like 38 years too late to start. Yeah, you're dead. Can you hear the fan, by the way?
Well, it's funny how nothing... No.
Okay.
No. But nothing really matters, because if you think about it, even if humans cease to exist... I was watching this who the fuck is a paleontologist? I forget his name. But the point is, if humans were to be wiped off tomorrow, completely gone, we just disappear like that, it would only take about, after 350 years, practically any evidence of our existence would be gone. Right, that's it. 350 years, which is nothing. There might be remnants of the Hoover Dam.
Wow.
Still.
Yeah.
And the pyramids, which were even here before us.
Anything made of concrete would probably still have a little bit of resonance in there. Interesting.
Yes. Yeah. That's
I always thought about it too. I was at a Red Sox game a couple weeks ago, and I was by myself at the Sox game, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, I go, how many people who are Sox fans that died? Right? And but the Sox keep on going. You know what I mean? Like, the Sox will never, like, they'll always play games. The schedule comes out every year. You may die.
Yeah.
You may be a fan for 90 years, but you die, and
it doesn't matter.
The train keeps on going. No one cares.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit.
Cares.
It's just a piece of fecal matter in a hotel room bathtub.
You're stardust. You're all just stardust, a cluster of remnants of a bang that happened.
Yeah, like Al Pacino.
A violent explosion.
Violence explosion. I like that. All right, we should bring in our guest now. Now we
Let's
really
do it.
cover things. This is gonna be interesting. We've tried getting him on the show a few times. Guest 13304.
Oh boy.
We had an issue about a month ago getting on, but we're connected to audio. His mic is off. Let's see. Chad, can you hear us?
I can. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yes, we can. There you are. And we can see you. How you doing?
Been a while, huh? Since we tried this.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I see my whole face. It's not that pretty.
Hey man.
Where
What's up, guys?
Where are you? That still looks like it's the middle of the afternoon.
Right by my window. I'm just south of Cleveland. 45 minutes south of Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
Who, by the way, the Indians are now in first place today.
Okay.
We're not worried about July, August, September. Today we're in first place. So one of the things I thought we'd start off with real quick is just a toast. I got some Sam Adams here.
So do I.
Now,
there you go.
People make fun of me because, Sam Adams is like, man beer. And I get the summer ale.
That's a good beer. No.
It is a good beer.
I don't know what that means exactly, but cheers. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys.
There is nothing wrong with a Sam Adams summer ale. I'll tell you that much. This is actually my favorite one. It's a very niche one. I could only really find it in New England. It's the cherry wheat.
Okay, yeah.
It's delicious. And I have one on deck right now. I have the new Porch Rocker lemon Rattler.
That's a good one. I like that.
I don't know if we get limited Sam Adams out here in Cleveland, so
yeah. You guys
we get the regular and then seasonal beer. So
you guys are in Yingling territory out there, and
we are at competition. I know,
which is ironic because the main brewery for Sam Adams is actually in Cincinnati.
Right.
So
a lot of people don't know that, but
fun fact.
It's true. Yeah.
So Chad, it's finally nice to talk to you. We had to have a little technical difficulties a couple weeks ago getting this going, but awesome to see it. Now we're talking baseball. We were talking about a little Derek Jeter talk. And obviously, as an Indians fan or a Guardians fan, have you made the transition yet? Are you still calling them the Indians, or how's that work?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm all my gear is Indians, jerseys and hats and all, and I'm not changing now. my son got me and his girlfriend got me a Guardian shirt for Christmas, so
Okay.
I'm proud to wear that.
Yep.
I always thought it was ironic, at the end of last season for the Indians, they listened to the people and the management was so appalled that they were using this, the Indians name, that even to the end of last season, they were still selling Indians merchandise in the stadium. So they were still appalled. They were marking it off like 10%. So,
I feel like nobody was even complaining about the Indians name. They just went ahead and decided to change it.
Every year we had about 8 or 10 Native American tribes people, I guess, not tribes of people, would come and make a sign. And you know what? Whatever. I'm a baseball fan. I used to be a Reds fan growing up.
Okay.
Grew up near Cincinnati, just north. And we moved up here. We moved to Medina, which is about a half hour south of Cleveland, suburb. And once my son was born, of course, he doesn't know anything about the Reds. So we transitioned to Indians, and I can't do it again. I got Reds and Indians. I'm not transitioning anymore. No more.
You get to a certain point in your life that it's like, you know what, it is what it is. Like the team could move, and I feel like that's happened to a lot. Like people who say Dodger or Giants fans who lived in New York for all those years, and then they moved out to the West Coast, and then it's just like,
right?
I'm sorry, I can't. My team's out there. I'm just gonna have to follow them. I can't start over.
Right. I'm just a nostalgic baseball fan. Love going to the games. You mentioned before we got on that you'll go to a game by yourself or you go to a game by yourself.
For sure. That's
so much fun. I love going, and I like going with my friends or my family, but even if I'm by myself, I can still have a few beers, sit at the bar, watch the game, and maybe find somebody that just to strike up a conversation with.
Oh, for sure.
And that's how I've gotten a lot of my stories that I'm gathering for. Hopefully, will be my first book. But in any case, I love just going to watch baseball and learning about baseball. So Indians, Guardians, whatever. Yeah, I'm good either way. The beer's still cold. The hot dogs are cheap. So let's play ball, right?
It's a great stadium too. You get out there, the old Jake, as I still call it.
The old Jake, yeah. It's of course. I was thinking First Energy was the Browns. Progressive Field, of course.
Yep.
But and a lot of people are stuck on the Jake. They wear T-shirts to the games called the Jake. I'm like, dude.
Boston kind of did that a little while when we had the Boston Garden where the Celtics and Bruins played for years, and then they knocked it down. They built this newest stadium. I think it was the Fleet Center for 100 years. And then when Fleet Bank went out of business or they got bought out, they sold their property off to a TD Bank, and their big promo was, we're going to change it back to the Garden. So they changed it to the TD Garden. But for years, we were just calling it the New Boston Garden, probably for a good decade after it was built, because we didn't really give a shit what the name of the place was, right? It's like, the name's the name, But
that's right. So, yeah.
The Jake.
So, who's your favorite player of all time? Just baseball in general, like if you had to pick a.
I was a huge Johnny Bench fan. I played catcher in Little League, the whole nine. I couldn't play the field very well, like. In our neighborhood, I couldn't field the ball. So they were like, "Here, you stand behind the bat or stand behind the plate. Just knock the ball down. I'll say what to do." And I wasn't a very good hitter, so the profile kind of fit. Yeah. But obviously, Johnny Bench was not. He does not. He's an amazing catcher.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. He's my favorite player.
I feel like as I've gotten older, I've had more respect for catchers because just the wear and tear on the knees for your whole career to still be able to maintain being a catcher, I think it's pretty admirable. Like Fisk, your benches, it's pretty difficult to do.
Yeah, even now you see the guys and they're starting. They're Javier Molina, for example. You watch him play; he's still at an incredible level. But if you ever watch him, just get up from that stance, they don't show it a lot between commercials. He's struggling a bit.
Tough.
But you get him behind there, get him crouched down. It's like me if I drop, if I'm working the garage and I drop something, I'm like, do I really want to get that or just kick it in the yard or whatever? Getting back up is the hardest part.
I know, over the years they had some advances in technology where they have those pads that kind of go behind the legs to kind of help them. Plop themselves up a little bit, but you see a lot of back in the day, a lot of catchers would end up converting to DHs and stuff because it's just they wanted to have a prolonged career. I know for the Sox, I mean, Veritek, he had almost like 15 years in. But all catching. But when they get older, we started having. You have a couple catches. You know what I mean? They bring in that second catcher as your backup for some pitchers have a specialty catcher. Know. But
and plus you got to figure with the catcher. Think about back when Johnny Bench played and all those guys. There was none of this. You got to get out of the way of the runner coming in.
Yeah,
you might get hurt. I may tag him too hard. I mean, those days they were taking some licks.
That was the best.
That
was the best for the catchers when they did that. Oh yeah.
I still, regardless of what people say about Pete Rose when he in the All-Star game when he I can't remember the catcher. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he ruined his career. He'd never be. He was over.
He just created an All-Star game. But he was. That's how he played back then. Right. He didn't step to the side a little bit and give him room.
It gave you an advantage because if you could run that guy down and if you catch him off guard when he's trying to get the ball in, right, and he's taking his eye off you for a second. That gives you the opportunity for A, to be an error, for B, he misses the ball altogether, or he drops it off his glove, for that matter. Right. Or you just hit him hard enough that he goes fucking flying, and you were able to get over the plate, and you're good to go. It's like,
all those things have happened. Yeah, it's just a different, I like a lot of the positions, but mainly catching, it's just so brutal, and things have, I guess, the guys are too expensive anymore to have
very valuable.
Play at the plate and all that kind of stuff. Somebody get pissed off real quick. But so long story short, Johnny Bench was definitely my guy.
And so you grew up as a Reds fan, obviously during the 70s, I would imagine, during the Big Red Machine, the great years, Yeah, they got two in the 70s, right? Was it 76, 77, if I remember correctly, or something like that? Or 75, 76?
I know they were back-to-back. 76, 77 sounds right.
Oh, it was 75 and 76 because they beat the Sox in 75. That's how I know that, yes.
I didn't want to bring that up.
Yeah. It's a tough series.
It is a tough series.
But
we still love.
So, this is a good actually question because now, as a Reds fan, how do you feel about the whole Pete Rose situation here? Because, Adam and I have discussions all the time about the guy is the greatest hitter, essentially, of all time, right? Most hits ever. His story is amazing. He grew up, he was playing high school baseball. He was kind of an average player. His uncle was a scout for the Reds. He took a signing bonus to play almost for nothing to play for the Reds, and this guy played every day of his life. I mean, he had his little twerks about him, right? He had his little vices, but, who doesn't at times,
Right.
But, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame, to be honest with you. I think he's the greatest. He has the most hits of all time. He had a very, very elaborate career. I mean, the guy left Cincinnati to go. Did he win the World Series with Philly, right? 1980?
Philly. Yeah.
I mean, he still had a little bit. And he was a player coach when he went back to Cincinnati. I mean, that's amazing.
Well, I remember I was saying to Arty that if I'm Pete Rose, I don't think I want to be in the Hall of Fame, only because once you get in, you're just another name, another plaque. He's now known as the guy that doesn't get in, so people now remember it.
That's a great point. Yeah, if you were in, we would be having this conversation probably.
Yeah, it's true.
So there is that. I'll tell you, here in the Ohio Valley area, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, man, he is signing stuff. He is at every card show. Now, I don't know if he just didn't save his money when he played ball. Of course, he didn't make a lot of money back then.
He has a gambling.
Gambling. Oh, you had to bring that up. Okay, so let's take. There's a dear friend of mine. His name's Dr. Willie Steele, down in Tennessee. We grew up together, and he will fight to the tooth and nail, saying he knew he was cheating or betting on these games. He knew that there was a sign in the locker room that said, "You may not cheat." And we have the spirited debate sometimes. I'm a asterisk guy.
Okay.
If you're going to put the Rocket, or you're going to put Bonds, or you're going to put Mike Cobb, or half the people, now it's just a generalization, but if we're going on character and did they steal signs, at what point is one thing worse than another?
True.
There are a lot of a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame who are, let's just say, physically a little too physical and rough with their spouses or the kids.
Well,
I mean, you know.
Go ahead. No, say there are guys in the Hall of Fame that weren't exactly choir boys. Ty Cobb killed the guy.
Right.
He did.
Yeah.
So it's just a great debate. I mean, but I think you nailed it right on the head. The more we talk about it, he's just cashing in on it. Now, the fact that he's the hits leader, I mean, there's got to be a plaque, and I don't know, there's got to be a plaque or something in the gift shop that says he who was the home run. You know what I'm saying? That's just undeniable.
I mean, that's a record that I don't really foresee ever to be broken, because players, first of all, don't play that long ever again, right? And second of all, he was such a the ability of him not being able to. I mean, he barely made his high school team. And he just and then I remember I was watching this documentary on his rookie year. He played on the farm leagues. They brought him up because they had no choice. They needed someone to play, and he was an outfielder, right? If I remember correctly, did he play like right field or something like that, or left field or something like that? And then they needed a fielder, and the team hated him because like back then, the rookie stuff, and then he was getting all this play time and everything like that. But like he just said, "Fuck you, I don't care. I'm just gonna keep on playing." And he put up numbers that are unbelievable. You will never see a player do that, because the amount of money they get paid, they'll never justify the amount of hits they'll ever get or the home runs they'll ever get. It's all inflated. It's because we have a big discussion up here about Mookie Betts, right? Not Mookie. We talked about Mookie, but more or less now Xander Bogaerts, who is a free agent at the end of the season. He wants big money. The Sox lowballed him of an extension, but he wants like 10 years, right? The guy's 30-something years old, right? We think he's what, 30?
Oh my God, I was going to say he's upper 30s.
29 or 30, right? He's going to be there. 10 years, 40 years old. We've seen how the A-Rod contract worked out. Not very good. I don't think that Mookie contract's going to work out very good after the Dodgers, but okay, do you entertain the guy, but then you put yourself in a financial situation at the end as an owner, stuck with some all this dead weight. And I mean, we were paying Manny Ramirez up until a couple years ago on the Red Sox, and he hadn't been on the team in a decade. So it's like,
yeah.
But
Arty, sorry, I hate to backtrack, but you just said you hit on something that I wanted.
No, go ahead.
But no, you were talking about how Rose's record will probably never be broken, and you're right. I think he's one of 3 records that won't be broken.
Okay,
Rose's hit streak, DiMaggio, and also Ripken.
The Cal.
I think those 3, I think will never be broken.
You're right. Yeah. The Cal Ripken one will never get broken because players in their contracts have days off written in their contracts.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
it's not a bad gig.
And DiMaggio's won't either, because I just think media pressure and everything nowadays would kill that.
Yeah.
Just because the pressure nowadays is different than it was back then.
The nostalgia piece is so ingrained, especially in baseball, that people, if someone broke that record or got close, I can see somebody taking him out at second base, or
right.
Honestly, because some things are just sacred, and that's one of the reasons baseball is just so important to me and so many people that I'm talking to. It's just the nostalgia piece is, whether it's fact or folktale, and that's part of the title of my book, Facts or Folktales. Because a lot of times in your mind, it's bigger and better. That player was bigger and better than you may think, but we probably do that. We had Bernie Kosar, and we had the drive, and we had the fumble, and we had all that stuff. But baseball, for some reason, people think they just remember the facts from, doesn't matter how long ago. They feel like they're correct. And the reality is, most people, when they believe in something, they think you're not going to change their mind.
Nope.
You're right.
It's
it's ingrained. They're not going anywhere with it. So
you're talking about. I'm looking over to the right of me. I got a library here. I got a whole shelf of just books on baseball. I got baseball records, encyclopedias, stories about Fenway, stories about baseball stories. I mean,
and you don't read.
I don't read. I'm
a movie guy.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll go through these books and I'll look at the stats. I'm more of like a science, science guy. So I'll look at the math. I'll look at the statistics. I look at numbers, and these books are all full of stats and and situations about games people played and records and stuff like this. And like that gets, I'm like, oh, this is great. This is like stuff to, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I like a good baseball movie, right? But if I had to sit down and read The Field of Dreams, it might be a challenge. You know what I mean? So it's like kind of
Fair enough.
but I'd be more than happy to watch that movie over and over again. Or in your case, as being a Cleveland fan, one of my all-time favorite baseball movies, Major League.
Oh. It's amazing. You still see people going to the games with who? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
The
main pitcher.
Yeah. The Mohawk. Wild thing.
Vaughn.
Yeah,
Vaughn. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Vaughn.
Ricky Vaughn. Yeah.
People wear jerseys of Ricky Vaughn to games. And some people you'll see have the kids usually will have the haircut, the mullet.
Right.
It's alive and well here, man. People think that's like true, like they want to be the underdog and then they want to come back and win something. And the major and Ricky Vaughn was, perfect example.
I mean,
he reminds me. You guys remember John Rocker?
Oh yeah.
You remember John Rocker? I don't know where he's working now. He was such a head case that people loved him.
Yeah.
Like he was like the bad guy in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You just wanted to cheer against him, but you knew he was going to turn. Well, Rocker never turned. But he was loved here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And he was a badass pitcher until he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Atlanta took a chance on him, and I don't know where he is now, but. Yeah, those caricatures almost of players is it's an interesting phenomenon because people still like, okay, I'm the first one to admit I have a Bull Durham jersey with number 8 on the back. Okay, so
very nice.
Kevin Costner, Davis, Crash Davis, I have that, and there's some weird connection. Like if I'm wearing my jersey now, I'm almost 50 years old. I got the hat on. I almost always wear my hat when I'm watching baseball on TV.
Yeah.
I always wear my jersey when I go to the game.
Oh, yeah.
Where else can you do that?
Right.
People are like, yeah. It's like wearing those Disney Mickey ears to Disney. It's okay
it's
there.
Same thing, right? Yeah.
You never do it anywhere else but there. And boy, when you're at the ballpark or you're at a bar outside the ballpark or whatever, people connect with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sweet jersey, man. I remember that. And then there goes the evening. You're just talking the whole time and drinking beers and just reminiscing.
It's a great time.
About what it was like back in the day.
Mm-hmm. I've been to every ballpark. So at this point, it's been like 35 at this point because they built them. They added new ones. So the majority of them I went to had been by myself. My goal was to hit all 30 active ballparks before I was 30 years old, and I did. I got them all done when I was 29.
Wow.
And then over the years, the Mets, the Yankees, the Marlins, the Braves, and the Rangers all built new parks. So I went to go check those out. So I've been down to those ones. But most of the time I was by myself. And you're right. I would go away on a weekend, and I'd go and I'd fly into Milwaukee, and then I'd drive up to Minnesota, then hit a game there, then drive back to Milwaukee, then go to Chicago, and kind of do a little trip. And you meet people along the way, like the book you're writing is basically stories of like what's your story? I would meet guys at bars, talk to them. Oh, what are you here for? They're by themselves too. Oh yeah, I just really, the Sox are in town. I really wanted to see them. Never seen them play before. I met Wrigley. That's great. Well, I met Wrigley because I've, never been to Wrigley before, and I grew up watching the Cubs on TBS every time they used to play. When they used to play the Braves, right? When it was on every day.
Absolutely, every day.
And up here before anything was televised, you got the Red Sox. That was about it. You never really got out of market games, especially nationally games. You never ever got right. That was really special. The Braves are the closest you got, and then you seen every team to play through. And Adam and I grew up in the early '90s, and it was before interleague play. So I remember when interleague play kicked in. I think it was like '97 when they did the expansion with the Rays and the Diamondbacks. I remember that was a big deal, and a lot of baseball purists were a little upset about it because there was kind of like a weird situation where like the National League and American League, even though they're all in MLB, they were kind of their own little party, right?
Yeah.
And I think it took a long time for even myself to get used to the fact that, all right, now this is a kind of a common thing, and now with the new agreement they just did, now there's a DH in both leagues now, and now there's going to be you're going to play every single team every single year. And so now it's kind of just like the whole National League allure, which I used to love, the small ball, National League ball, the double switches and stuff, stolen bases stuff, is kind of going away. And now it's all going to kind of,
Weren't the Marlins and the Rockies before the Diamondbacks?
They were, but they didn't do interleague play yet. At that point.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, they brought them in 92, 93 was the Marlins and the Rockies. And then they had the expansion with the Rays and the Diamondbacks. And then the Brewers ended up going over to the National League because they needed to do a 15-15 even.
Yeah.
So, and then with the addition of Houston going over to the American League, now they had to do a national an interleague game every series for the entire seasons, I guess so.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, but I don't know. How do you feel? Because you grew up as a National League fan. Now you're an American League fan. Like, does it matter to you, or do you have kind of like you kind of feel, cheated a little bit of the two flavors?
Well, growing up, we only got the Reds as
right.
National League team. Now to think of watching, the Yankees or the Dodgers or wherever we never even thought about it because it was we didn't have Sports Center.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you got. It was your baseball. You either, watched it, you listened on the radio. I'm really dating myself now.
We used to do the same thing up here, yeah.
That's what you had.
Yeah.
So that you didn't know that, Milwaukee was playing Chicago.
Right,
you
right.
Didn't know.
You'd catch the paper the next day and see the box scores,
Yeah, you thought you were the only, Reds fans on earth because you didn't know of anybody else.
I was gonna say, didn't it make the World Series a little special too? Because those teams would never ever play each other except for the World Series. So when they did, it was kind of a big freaking deal. It's like, oh god, this is kind of cool.
And I don't remember like the '70s World Series, because I was very young then. But like the '91 World Series,
right? Okay,
with the Reds, it was like the biggest day of my life. Like it was like I cannot believe this is happening. Mm-hmm. And that's just when Sports Center was coming out, and there was WGN and all those stations were starting to show more games.
Right.
And you knew that, wow, this baseball planet is larger than Cincinnati. But when they won in '91, I'll never forget. I was driving home, and I was listening to 700 WLW, which is a big radio station down there. It's a huge radio station.
Yep.
And Marty Brennaman was calling the game, and I almost had to pull over. I was so excited. I'm like, wow. This is not even real. Like, tomorrow, what happened? Like, is there tomorrow? Because who just won the World Series.
I'm trying to remember. Who were they playing in '91? It was the A's?
The A's, yeah.
Yeah. That was at the big Eckersley. Yeah.
Stewart. Man, those guys were good.
And they were coming off a World Series win back in '89, right? Against the Giants. So they were pretty fresh. And
they had 3 or 4 years that were just amazing, really good.
Yep.
And so, Reds beat them, and that gave us light and hope for another 10, 12 years. But, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Now, you did mention just a couple minutes ago about, like, you go into a bar maybe or watch a game, you're talking to somebody. I love that. I love just meeting somebody, hey, buy you a beer, whatever. So this is a true story. It happened just a couple weeks ago. A friend of mine, James, and I were in Columbus. It was a casino, but we were just there for dinner, and so we're sitting there. He's on my right, and I just finished this book about Ty Cobb, actually, and it's called The Paper Tigers.
Okay.
If you've never read it, it's phenomenal. It's a quick, easy read. But anyway, the story is amazing. So I'm telling my buddy James about this book, and the guy next to me on my left says, "Did you say Ty Cobb?" And I said, "Yeah, I just read this book. It's called The Paper Tigers." So he goes, "I grew up in Detroit." And for the next 3 hours, we shared stories about, what was like in Detroit, what was like in Cincinnati. And, we had, 2 or 8 beers. But we had, we were all passionate about
what
we're talking about. And his Detroit days were as passionate as my Cincinnati days. But in any case, if you get a chance, Paper Tigers, you've got to check it out. I'm hoping to obviously include it in a section of my book. But it's just a really phenomenal, it's a phenomenal book, but it's also a phenomenon that when you're sitting around, you never know who's going to be like, hey, yeah, I knew this, or I knew this person. And that's what's cool about sports, I think, in general. It could be about politics. I don't like all that kind of conversation. I'm just like a simple person.
Sports is a little nicer to talk about because people can share stories, especially, I bartend, and when the Yankees come to town, we got a lot of New Yorkers that come in. So I'll bust their balls a little bit, but it's like it's not a good sport because it's they beat up on us for 80-something years, so it's
it's true.
It's about time we get our share of that fight.
Hey, but, this guys this year are ridiculous.
Yeah,
the Yankees. I mean, seriously.
So they're 12 up right now off of 12 up on Toronto. If the Sox, I know they're playing your Indians, but if they can win the series, the Sox will be in second place in the AL East. But they'll still be 12 games back for the first place. So it's unbelievable.
Ridiculous. I know. It's I don't know.
They're gonna cool off though. They gotta cool off. I mean,
everybody cools off.
Right.
You can't keep this up.
And
once you get injured, there some
And I'd rather be hot after the All-Star break than before. I know you gotta you got to play it right, because if you're too cold before the All-Star break, your team could start selling off players, and you really get yourself in a situation, which the Sox are kind of in that line right now where, like, well, we're, the first wild card spot right now, but do we sell? Do we buy? Do we make adjustments?
Sure.
But if you're like, the Yankees right now, like, all right, they may not make any moves, and that could actually be bad for them, because if they have a pitcher or starter that goes down, a relief guy that's on, if a position player gets injured, he's on the DL for 30 days, all of a sudden you start losing series like that, it could change real quick. I mean, you probably remember, this is before Adam and I said, but the 79 Yankees, the 79 Sox had like a 20-game over the Yankees going into August 1st, and then they had that one-game playoff of Bucky Dent, and then that fucked everything up. So
that's it. Yeah, it's over.
So that's a good thing.
Question, what's the state of even the Yankee ownership nowadays? Like, I know it's not like how Steinbrenner was, obviously ruling with an iron fist, but like does Steinbrenner even care? This, like, the son, like, does he even give a fuck? Like,
I don't get that feeling. I mean,
I don't either.
I think he's got a checkbook, and then they say, hey, here's how much we need, and take this and go to the store and buy what you can.
I think so too. So, I mean, because you figure back in those Yankee days when Steinbrenner was firing. What the hell was the manager's name that he fired 19 times? And then
was it Martin?
Martin? Yeah, Billy Martin. I mean,
oh my god! Have you read any of his stuff? Did you never read about Billy Martin?
I've seen some. The guy had a rough life. He was
he did a. Yeah, baseball was probably the easiest thing in his life.
Right.
But he they talk about fights that he and Steinbrenner had, and it's just unbelievable. Like, to think, obviously, you compare it to your current, whatever age you are now, and like, it never happened back in the day.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, some of those old time managers and ownership, gosh,
I mean, I think he fired him.
Those guys.
He fired him 4 times, and then when he brought him on the 5th time, he basically told him because Billy Martin died. If you don't know, like, people out there watching, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I believe it was 1989 or something like that, and he single car accident, drove into an embankment or something like that, died or whatever, and allegedly Steinbrenner was going to ask him to manage the Yankees again as a full-time manager going into the next season, and obviously he passed away and wasn't able to do so. But I mean, I remember watching highlights of, like, I mean, they would get in the altercations, fights, who'd fire him, bring him back, fire him, bring him back. I mean,
well, all those managers and baseball players back in the day were all fucked up. They were all alcoholics. Like, even now, you've seen A League of Their Own. I believe that was Fox that was loosely based on Tom Hanks' character. Yeah, he was loosely based on Jimmy Fox.
Jimmy Fox,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But like, they were all fucking. I remember even Mickey Mantle was saying, like, if I knew I was gonna live this long, I would have treated my living. Like, they all were like, like,
so true.
Like, none of them just, they didn't give a fuck. They just drank and rode the bus and went to the next gig.
Just think about it.
I love I love the photos they have of baseball players. Those guys in their dugout smoking.
Right.
Dave Parker and they're a bunch of guys. They're literally, after they ran around the base or whatever, they're in there smoking a cigarette.
Babe Ruth would be smoking a cigar on the mound after you just pounded like 10 hot dogs in the dugout, and he's going out there like, not exactly your poster child for an athletic body.
None of it.
None of them were.
Yeah.
Even getting closer to modern day. Remember David Wells? He said he pitched his perfect game fucking drunk, and he was never the picture perfect guy of in shape. Fat lug, right? It's just,
there's speaking of, there's a great book called The Doc, or maybe it's just Doc, D-O-C, over Doc Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
Or Gooden, I'm sorry, not Gordon. Gooden,
yeah.
There's a quick story in there that he said he was in some, season was over, they just won the World Series. He's in some rundown apartment. He'd been doing coke for he remembers days.
Yeah.
He's watching TV and he sees the World Series parade going down New York. He's like, he jumps out of the apartment, has somebody drive him, and jumps on one of the floats. I mean, come on.
I was gonna say that had to be the '86 Mets. That had to be '86, right? After they beat the Red Sox.
Is anybody watching those guys? I mean, behind the scenes, they have like handlers or something.
Yeah, Darryl Strawberry used to have his handlers pick women out from the row seats that he would have sex with in between innings below deck. Like I
know.
That's awesome.
Like, it was insane.
I watched this video today.
Some of those books are just amazing.
I see one that Mickey Mantle allegedly had sex with a girl during, like, in the middle of a game. Took her down to the clubhouse and did what he had to do for it, and then he went back out in the field to finish playing the game. I mean, do you imagine?
New man.
Yep.
And like,
I know there's some crazy stories out there.
When you talk about like Doc, and that's the '80s, right? And even the '90s, there's some crazy shit going on. But like, can you imagine how like soft and snowflake people are these days? If this stuff went on now, like, oh my god, like,
oh my god,
the teams would be like kicked out of town, right? I mean, I can't even imagine. And it's like what Charles Barkley said, right? Yeah. I'm not a role model. Right? So don't tell your kids to be my role model, right? Kids can look up to athletes, right? It's like there's a line in the movie Up in the Air, right? What's his face? George Clooney goes, why do you like, why do kids like sports heroes? And he goes, I don't know, so you can bang supermodels? And he goes, no, that's why me and you like sports guys, right? It's like, it's because they live their dream. They don't want to do what they dream, right? Which is true. Like, as you're an adult, you look at them, you're like, wow, this is a great life to live. But as a kid, you're looking, wow, this guy's playing a game for a life, right? It's like, but you don't want to.
Right. That's all you're thinking.
Yeah. But you don't know what exactly he does when he's not. Right? You know what I mean? It's like.
Yeah. And just so many backstories to guys. It's, that's what, and again, I go back to one of the things I love about baseball. There's the, you see Ted Williams or DiMaggio or any of these guys out there, and you're just like, oh, I'm not worthy. And then you look at the background, you start reading about some of the stuff, and you're like, occasionally I'll be like, gosh, thank goodness we don't have Twitter, or they didn't have Twitter back in 1930s or 20s or up to the now.
Like 2006, really, right?
Now, but imagine, guys, imagine Doc Gooden and Strawberry with Twitter.
Oh God! Oh my God!
I mean,
it's the best stuff to read.
It is the best, but
TMZ would be all over the place. Like TMZ, they fight, because even Jeter had a little bit of that issue when he first came in the Yankees in the mid '90s because he was potty and stuff, and then they take a picture of him coming out of a nightclub, and then he has a bad, goes on a 3-game, bad hitting streak, right? And they're like, well, he was pottying too much. And like, well, maybe it has nothing to do with one or the other, but who gives a shit what he's doing? He's on the field. But now, like nowadays, every move you make, everyone knows what you're doing. You know what I mean? You can't hide anything. God, these guys had girlfriends. They were married, but then had girlfriends in every city, and no one knew about anything because no one talked about it. Because
nobody talked about it.
No.
Which makes you wonder, because it's like we hear the stories about the old timers in these stories. What about the things they did that we never heard of?
Right.
Because they didn't have
That's a great point.
There was probably some things. There's some shit that went down that were able to get squashed.
Oh yeah,
way before I could ever get out. Yeah.
Oh gosh, imagine being like PR reps for these guys. For like Doc Gooden, well, mishap, he fell, he's sleeping.
Yeah,
he's been sleeping for 3 days. Don't worry about it.
I mean,
the dead hooker in the bed or something.
Yeah. I mean,
when he got there,
it's like the message that Strawberry was like, yeah, but he's a really good player. Like we just gotta.
Don't you love that?
Then he went to the Yankees and he's like, but he's a really good player. It's like a little sketchy pass, but whatever,
And for a lot of people, that's good enough,
right?
Okay, none of them are perfect, but he sure has an arm. He sure can run. You're like,
you like the Indians, Cleveland fan, Manny Ramirez. He was a character and a half, right? I mean,
Manny is still Manny.
Yep,
as they say.
Hey,
you guys, Boston picked him up, so you guys weren't too.
We got 2 World Series out of him, and
But Manny. What he said something recently.
Yeah, it was about how Bogarts and Devers should take a discount.
Yeah,
is that
they
it?
should take a discount, and if they were playing back when he played, they would. No, I think he was talking about Jeter actually.
Oh, really?
Something. If Jeter played in the Midwest, he'd be just another shortstop.
Thanks, Manny. It's funny because Manny was the guy who, like, every team he went to, he was trying to shoot himself out of town. And I was watching this video, and it was like at one point when the Sox were at their wits' end with this guy, he wanted to trade, and he had a list of like 10 teams, and one of the teams was their AAA team. He just wanted to go play AAA ball, and he said if he could play in the minor leagues for the rest of his life, he would, because there was no stress and he could just have fun doing it and stuff like this. You know what I mean? But
I totally believe that.
But he was such a nut. He
was an idiot. He was an idiot, though. Like, it's funny how things seem to be forgotten over time. Like, the Red Sox did not part well with Manny Ramirez.
No,
did he shove an equipment manager?
Oh, yeah.
And he missed flights. Like, he was not things. But now time is.
They put last week they put him in the Hall of Fame. He's in the Red Sox Hall of Fame. They gave him a plaque and everything, and everything was all good and good. He was on the field before tees, throwing out the pitch. Everything was like nothing happened. You know what I mean? It's like, but he was
Manny being Manny.
And we got Jason Bay for him for a trade. Wow, big deal.
It worked out pretty well, right?
Half a year.
We traded him July of 2008, the Sox were pretty good at that time. They went to the American League Championship against Rays all the way to a Game 7, and what they were missing was a bat. And that bat was playing. Where they end up trading to L.A., right? Nanny went to the Dodgers. Bay went to the Pittsburgh. Bay came from Pittsburgh.
He started with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so it was kind of like it was like a 3 or 4 wheel trade. Yeah, it was a messed up trade the way it went. But Manny was gone, and I sat there after we lost Game 7, and I was like, you know, we could have used Manny Ramirez's bat because they could not hit against the. And Rays had that was when the Rays had Longoria was on that team, but they had all those really good pitches, right? That pitching staff, like Price was on that team. He was a rookie that year. They just couldn't be beat. But shit goes. But Manny, he ended up playing. He actually has a World Series ring with the Cubs. He was a hitting coach for the Cubs when they won the World Series. Yeah, so he's like,
oh my gosh,
he was on the field when they won the World Series. It's like,
we're gonna promote him. He's such a nut job. He's a good coach.
I remember when he got picked up by the the Rays was the last major league team picked him up as a player, and he tested positive for drugs, for enhancement drugs, and he had to take 180 game suspension or something like that. And he just said, screw it, I'll take the suspension. That's what it is.
Well, then he tried to blame it on erectile dysfunction medication.
I remember that. Poor Manny. He catch a break.
So, Chad, let's use the last few minutes here. Let's talk about your book. How's it going? When will it be out? How can we get it? Where can we get some information? How can you contribute to it?
Cool. Thank you. So I'm currently researching and writing the book. It's going to be part photography, which I'm really into in terms of old ball fields and old rickety, backstops and backyards, that kind of stuff. The stories, I started gathering research and stories about 3 months ago. And within like 2 months, I had over 100 stories from people from California to New York and Boston, Montreal, down to Florida. And what's happened, just the social media piece. I'm like, just send me something that you remember from your childhood. And it started off pretty simple. My idea at the beginning was just, tell me about playing in the backyard. Mm-hmm. But the stories have evolved to so much more. Like playing in that backyard, we played wiffle ball, but then my dad got home from work and we tossed the ball until it got dark. And, so it goes from there. Mm-hmm. Everything from that to, there are a couple former professional baseball players I've interviewed about their time growing up. I've got everything from just real short 1 or 2 liners. There's a story from a guy who lived in New York City. He lived on a dead-end street, and there was an auto junkyard at the end of the street. But they didn't have anything used for bases, so they used to break into the auto shop and get fenders and old wheels and use those as their base. That's just a super easy, short, but like in my opinion, interesting take on baseball or wiffle ball.
Right, yeah.
And then I get 3 or 4 pages from someone who's like telling me they're when I was 2, I learned to throw a ball. When I'm and that's fine too. I can't use everything in the book, but basically I'm looking for stories from like backyard, sandlot, like baseball, wiffle ball. I'm hoping to get out to New York and I'm not sure. Boston might have some stickball groups. Stickball is huge, obviously, on the East Coast a while back, and there's still some leagues that still play. So I'm looking for that. There are some other there's some Puerto Rican games that they would play. I can share one of them. I heard back from a guy. He grew up in Puerto Rico, but he now lives, I think, in Texas. And he said, we played what was called Vitilla, Vitilla, and I'm sure I'm butchering it. Anyway, they would take like a water jug, and they would tear the top piece off of it, or like a milk jug, and then they would get a broomstick. That's how they played. So you can still, so they're batting with a broom, and then the broom's handle, and then they're hitting this ball cap or this bottle cap.
Yeah.
And there were I've read a lot about from scouts who say, yeah, that's one of the reasons they start out. They don't have baseballs. A lot of them don't have gloves. They use cardboard and make a glove out of cardboard. And they learn how to hit by hitting this bottle cap.
Right.
So that I thought was a really cool story. And it just changes. Like, again, growing up, I was like, wow, Cincinnati, my hometown was called Washington Courthouse. I think there is something out there beyond the borders of my county, you know? And so the stories just have evolved. Again, some are short, some are really, really in depth, and that's cool. As far as my timeline, I'd like to finish the book this fall. And then my goal is to have it. I'm looking for a publisher, by the way. So if there are any publishers out there, my contact information, I think, will be on the website, on Facebook. I'd like to have the book out opening day in the spring 2023.
Cool.
And so I'm looking for stories. Again, I'm collecting a lot of photographs. And just last weekend, we had, I called it our Legends League. Well, we, about 12 of us from our old hometown met up, and we tried to play a game of wiffle ball. We got scared away by the golf, whoever's in charge of the golf course. That's where we used to play. And then I'm like, dude, we're 55 years old. We just want to hit the ball around a little bit. And they're like, of course, 2022. It's a liability.
Right. Yeah. Everything's a liability these days. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You're going to run?
Yeah.
But anyway, so the book is called Ghost Runners.
Okay.
And so for those who don't know what a ghost runner is, you guys probably know, but a lot of people don't. They call it like imaginary people or imaginary runner. Ghost runner was, if you had less than like 3 people on a team, and let's say you hit it and you have to bat again, so you'd say ghost runner on first, and then you go back. And
which is funny because that's what they call now that person they put on second base during the extra innings. They call him the ghost runner. So yeah, it kind of all falls in place.
And I had no idea until just a few nights ago. I was watching the game and they said that. I was like, oh my gosh, he stole it. Anyway, that's the ghost runner, and then the subtitle is Facts or Folktales. Okay. From Stoop to Stickball. And Stoop is just another game that a lot of people in the East Coast played. They would take one of these pink, they were called Spalding balls, real rubbery ball. And, of course, they had like townhouses. They didn't have yards or anything. So they would take the ball and slam it against the steps. And depending on where it hit the steps would determine how far it would go and the angles. And so people would be like, all right, if you throw it against the step and it hits the neighbors across the street, that's a home run. Or if it only dribbles a little bit, that's an out.
Okay.
So there are, when I started with baseball, wiffle ball, and stickball, which were the kind of the big 3, it's evolved into like 10 or 12 other sports. And there are a lot of wiffle ball teams even now that are alive, and they have leagues and they have lights and all kind of stuff. And so anyway, long story short, that's the name of my book. Hopefully you guys will, if you could post the email and the Twitter handle. My email is theghostrunnerproject@yahoo.com. And just send me your stories. That's awesome. Every day I get a story from someone, and they share it with somebody else. And so that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Cool, man. Awesome. Have you been to Fenway before?
No, I haven't. I'm working, I'm working on getting like I teach. I'm a school teacher, art teacher. And so I have time. I'm trying to get a Boston, New York trip together.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know how to break it to my wife. Right. That's the issue that I'm dealing with. No. But because there's a stickball, would you believe there's a stickball Hall of Fame in the Bronx? Okay. I'm sorry, East Harlem.
Yep.
And they still have tournaments every Sunday. And then I know stickball was pretty big in a lot of handball as well.
You got to tell your wife you're doing some research for your book.
Yeah.
There you go. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Right?
Do some research. So every time I read something, it's just like, oh, I gotta figure this out, or I gotta add some stuff to it. At this point, the book is like 9,000 pages long because I have so many stories, and of course I have to go and kind of trim.
But it's cool though, because you could put the greatest hits in the book, but then you could always do just a website. You could have a blog. You could have something that relates to it. So it's always something that's always evolving. It's always living. It's always expanding. So you have the the main core of it, and then you have all these additional stories that kind of can keep it living and keep it going, because it's never going to end. It's never going to stop. It's always going to go. So
never going to end. And so I was kind of like, oh, should I go ahead and start a blog or something now? And then I was like, well, why would you buy the book if it's all if it's all right here and you can read it already?
Right.
That is my plan, is to get so much stuff out there, and then we'll say, all right, let's start posting stuff. That would be my goal. So
there you go.
That's my goal, and see how it goes.
All right, man.
Nice.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight. It was awesome talking. We love talking baseball on this show. So yeah,
love talking baseball. Since I just love talking baseball, and appreciate your time, guys.
If you get up to Boston, let us know. We'll be more than happy to take you around town. Absolutely, we'll give you a good tour.
I'll buy you somewhere else. So they sell summer ales up there.
They sure do. They trust me.
All right, I'll buy you a couple. How's that?
I'll tell you one bet. There's a bar that's inside the stadium that's not inside the stadium. It's built into the wall. So you can access it from the outside. It's called the Bleacher Bar, and you could go in anytime, even when there's not a game, and you can actually see inside the stadium from the bar, and you're in the boroughs of the stadium. So there you go. Yeah. Take you there.
My schedule's open. I just got to get confirmation from my financial advisor.
Business trip. There you go.
My wife.
There you go.
All right, guys.
All right, Chad. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one.
Have a good one, sir.
You too. Thanks.
Nice guy. It's funny guy. The baseball hour.
Baseball. I can't go wrong for baseball. We tried to get him on for about a month and a half now. We had technical difficulty, but he was it's worth the wait, I guess you could say. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine the stories you get to, right? I mean, just the stories that you and I have. Just picture that multiplied by everyone in the friggin' world, right?
What, baseball stories?
Baseball stories, yeah. But like but it's funny because baseball stories start as like I went to a baseball game, right? And then I brought 2 hookers back to my hotel room. Because the story. It starts at the baseball game, but then the hookers came. No? I mean,
mine are more field goody, like involving my dad.
Well, you got those two. I mean, yes, those two, yeah. I mean, my dad.
I actually do not have. I will say, baseball is the one thing that a lot of my stories don't involve anything like that. They're more humbling and more.
Yeah.
I don't have any sort of. I'm trying to think. No, I don't. All my baseball stories are extremely PG-13 at the most.
Not mine. Especially when I was traveling the country by myself, going to baseball games.
Different. Yeah.
The stories are exactly. God, I'm running from people leaving the strip club. I think the stories can go far, but they get a lot of good feel-good stories. Like I was happy enough to. Me and my grandfather went to a game. When I was 21, we got overserved at the Unos prior to the game, and then we drank a lot of balls. But yeah, a lot of beers at the game.
Drank a lot of
balls. And then the game ended by a walk-off David Ortiz home run in the 9th inning to win the game. It was just like the cherry to the sundae, you know what I mean? So it's like stuff like that, you know? And then I've been to a lot of heartbreakers, a lot of games that, but that's the glory of the game. And as we all come full circle, as we're talking about this. Say your lightsaber? Oh, speaking of lightsabers.
My Kino flashlight. Lottery
flashlight. Your lottery flashlight. I go to my wife. I go, do you have a flashlight in your car? And she's like, no. I go, put this. I go, it's free. I go, this was given by a good source. This little flashlight is like quality flashlight. So, and you can use it as a weapon too.
It's got some weight to it.
Off subject of baseball, real quick. I started putting together the Millennium Falcon. We all know I got the Millennium Falcon for the Lego set for Christmas. It's like 10,000 pieces. It's a beast, right? So I started working on it last night, and this thing is gonna be giant. Like I don't even know when I'm gonna present this thing. It's like so big. But I had to sort all the 17 steps to it, and then each step has 4 bags of Lego pieces to it, and I had to sort them all out. So I had some kind of an organized way that I can grab bags at a time to start putting together this whole giant Millennium Falcon thing. This thing is. When you come over on Saturday, you'll see what I have so far. This thing's huge.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm gonna build. I think on my desk right here. You can't see from the camera, but there's an open space. I think I could build a shadow box for it to sit in, which would be really really cool kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was originally gonna hang it from the ceiling, but this thing's gonna weigh probably 50 pounds. This thing's gonna be very heavy, and I don't know if I trust me bolting into my ceiling. Something that potentially could kill me during the middle of the podcast. So, some things, maybe I'll keep this thing lower. I just screwed my Bruins and Celtics chairs into the wall over here, and I wouldn't sit on them if I were anyone. They're more here for a display, so I don't think I hit a stud, in other words. But with that said, we're at the end of the show. What would you like to plug, sir? Anything going on with you?
No, sir. I'm good right now. Nothing much.
Cool.
Chilling.
Yeah, you get me on the Wicked Explorers. This show has moved to the Wicked Explorers
I noticed.
YouTube page.
Yeah, you're moving it over there.
So we get a little
YouTube too.
Get a little more activity over there, and of course you get us on Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff. And with that said, we will see you guys next week. Have a week. See you later.